This is one of the worst deaths imaginable, and it is also an unsolved homicide. Hello, true crimeers. This is the case of Tammy Vincent. Viewer discretion is advised. It was September 26, 1979, here at this beach, which is located in Tiburon, California. A body of a female was found, and it was pure brutality. This victim had 43 stab wounds, primarily inflicted to her chest and her back. Her head had been set on fire. It singed off all of her hair. And then she had a gunshot wound as well. This is one image of the young woman they found on the beach. This is their composite drawing. And then this was like a side profile they did. The horror of this is that the coroner could tell she was alive, still alive, after those 43 stab wounds. They could tell based on blood evidence at the crime scene that she had gotten up and tried to run, hence why she was also stabbed in the back. They found these items at the crime scene. The victim had been doused with paint and acetone, and then her face was set on fire. But that still didn't kill her. She had soot in her lungs, so she was alive when that fire was set. And then finally, her killer shot her in the back of her head, which killed her. She was alive through 40 plus stab wounds, her head being set on fire. That is absolutely horrific. And unfortunately, for decades, her identity wasn't known. There was no wallet nearby. They put out the images around that area of California. Nobody recognized her. In 2002, her body would be exhumed so they can extract DNA from her. And that's around the time they came up with this newer image. And then it wouldn't be until 2007 when they finally got a hit. The victim's mother and sister had submitted their DNA to one of those, websites, and that led them to Tammy Vincent. She was the Jane Doe. She was the one who went through a horrific, terrible murder. The last time anyone saw Tammy was on September 10th, 1979. This was in Seattle, Washington. This is roughly 800 miles, a 13-hour drive to get from Seattle to where her body was found in California. She grew up on a farm near the Seattle, Washington area. She was always an adventurous young woman. She was very outspoken. She was, not afraid to say what was on her mind. And she was also someone who ran away from home on several occasions. But she always came back. By August of 1979, she had actually been picked up by a vice raid because she had gotten involved with drugs and prostitution. When she was arrested, she agreed to testify against the bigwigs in this prostitution ring. The police in that area had built up a really large racketeering and prostitution case against certain individuals, and she was going to be a star witness. Tammy would actually be relocated by police as a form of witness protection. Now, there were 5 individual clients who were going on trial for these racketeering and prostitution charges. The lawyer for one of these men, or all of these men, ended up finding out where Tammy was and gave her information to the defendants, and then poof, she was gone. Eventually, her family did report her missing in Seattle, but they didn't report her missing right away because, again, she was known for running away, and she would be gone for weeks and sometimes months on end. She was only 17 years old. Times were different in 1979, but it got to a point where her family knew something was wrong at that point, and so they reported her missing. But because this was 1979, and because this was 800 miles away from where she was actually found, the communication between police departments aren't what we have nowadays. They didn't have the internet back then. And so that's why there was such a large gap of time before they actually identified her. Now, here's the other thing. I don't see any evidence or any news articles with regards to who's the suspect in this case. It seems obvious to me that one of those defendants that she was going to testify against likely did this to her. But nobody's been arrested. Nobody's been charged, indicted, nothing. She was identified in 2007, and her case remains unsolved, which is absolutely wild to me, but here we are. Somebody somewhere out there has got to know the truth. This was 40 plus years ago. Her killer would maybe be in their 60s-ish, depending on how old they were. So they are very much, there's a possibility they're still alive. And if you know something, you've got to say something. You can report your information anonymously if you need to. If you have any information on the murder of Tammy Vincent, please call 888-898-5818.